talk to me normally.
I don't care about your silly insults.
What do you mean you don't care? What do you mean you don't care? What I said is I have a picture of it. I can flip it around and show you right now.
I couldn't care less about your silly little insults. It's like a 2-year-old. Why would I care?
A 2-year-old? A 2-year-old? Listen, sir, I don't know why you come on and you talk like you're holier than thou. As soon as you're away,
all right, let's
this. Applications are open.
All right, let's just...
That's your thing, bro. That's your bell.
Let's end this, please.
Cooked.
You know what? I'm not doing this story, guys. It's pointless.
Yo, what's going on, America and the rest of the world? Xander J. Hobson here, comedian, director, and producer of boxing documentaries and troll to those who need trolling. This is another episode of The Devil's Advocate, brought to you by the Brilliant Artist Movement. So anyway, I was checking out Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan had a ferocious back and forth with a young fella by the name of H.S. Tikky. I believe this young man's government is Harrison Sullivan. And this young man, he's a very interesting young man. And from what I gathered, he's been pretty much following the blueprint of Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate made a fortune on the sex lines, and guys could call in and talk to the girls and they can make money doing that. And this H.S. Tikky fella, he's pretty much following the same blueprint, somewhere in the neighborhood of an Andrew Tate and a Kevin Samuels, except for a British version. Now, this young man, he's also the son of British rugby player Victor Obuga. And I know that rugby is a rough sport, but let me tell you something. This young man, H.S. Tikky, he got a mouth on him, and he pretty much handed Piers Morgan his ass.
But is there not more to life to be achieved than rage-baiting morons in their DMs, rather than something a little bit more, I hesitate to use words where your fan base will go, "Oh, shut up, granddad, you don't get it."
For Piers to ask that question, it shows me that he is completely out of touch with what's going on today. All right. Now, currently, a lot of these young people, they get online, they troll, they rage bait, and they blog. And in some cases, it can be quite lucrative. Hey, that's what's going on now in the 21st century. Some of these young people, they don't have to work a regular job, because all they have to do is pick up their phone, and if they master that phone, that internet, some of these kids are making $500, $1,000, $2,000, and more a week, just rage baiting, trolling, and blogging on their phone. So this is what's going on today. When we were younger and growing up, you had to go get a job at the corner store, you had to clean somebody's backyard, or any one of a number of laborious things to get at a buck. Today, all these young people need is their phone. And in some cases, they can make a fortune.
How somebody ends up thinking that the key to life, that the joy of life, the satisfaction of life, comes from rage-baiting people in their DM.
For me, the main thing in life is making money, being healthy, and enjoying that money with my family and having great experiences. The experiences that I have now, since I've come back from Mother's Day, whatever, with my mum, in the last, 5-6 years since I've been on social media, have been great. And they're the things that I'll be looking back on when I'm 60, 70 years old. The nice dinners, the nice weather, just the nice times that I've shared. So I don't think the beauty of life is rage-baiting retards in my comments. But, when I'm sat there...
What would you actually want your younger male followers to end up being like? A genuine question. In the Netflix show, what I saw was a guy who says, look, on the one hand, if I had a daughter who did OnlyFans, I'd disown her. And yet you are directly involved in promoting a load of women who are on OnlyFans, right?
You're a smart man, right? You wouldn't be in this position if you weren't a smart man. You can answer that question yourself. You know exactly why I'm promoting girls. I'm not even actively promoting any right now, but you know exactly why I'm doing it. You don't need to ask me that question. No, you don't. So why are you asking a question you already know?
No, I'm not.
It's a very, very easy answer.
You're missing my point, Harrison. I'm not disputing that you are making money, or you're perfectly entitled to. I'm just curious why you would want to send a message to young men you're trying to be influential over, to the extent where you want them to part with money to be like you. And on the one hand, your message is OnlyFans is awful, these girls that do it are awful. But on the other hand, you're making money promoting them. It's hypocritical.
Now, I can understand Piers Morgan's position that the young man is being hypocritical by calling the OnlyFans chicks bad in one breath, but making money off them in the other. But from the perspective of the young man's position seems to be to other young men, don't be suckers. And there are a lot of young men who spend hundreds and thousands of dollars a year sending money to these OnlyFans chicks. And this young fella right here has reversed it. And instead of being a sucker and spending his money on these OnlyFans chicks, he's learned a way to make money off of them. I think the young man has found his lane, and he's in it, and he's getting at a buck. And I personally don't see anything wrong with it.
Look, I think OnlyFans girls can do what they want, you know. I'm not bothered. It's the same way I think people can be gay if they want. I'm not bothered. When it comes into my family, where I have control over the situation, that's where I'll dictate what happens. So it's a very valid point that I don't want my daughter to be on OnlyFans. I don't want my daughter to be in the red light district in Amsterdam. But if I went to Amsterdam and I was walking down and I saw a Colombian 9 out of 10, would I go in and visit? Well, depends how many drinks I'd had that night. But that doesn't mean I necessarily agree with it or would like that girl to be my daughter or would raise my daughter like that. Makes perfect sense.
You know what? I'm with the young man here. There isn't a self-respecting, God-fearing man alive who wants his daughter to be a whore.
And if you had a son who turned out to be gay, you would disown him, you said.
No, my actual life ambition, right, genuinely since young, is to grow up, make money, retire my mom, meet a nice girl from a good family, then have a gay child who fucks other guys. That's what I want. So I genuinely want that. I also want him to go out on the weekend and put makeup on.
Hey, I'm with the young man again. I don't think there's a self-respecting, God-fearing man alive who wants a gay son or daughter. I'm sorry. And you know what? The main reason would be why a man wouldn't want a gay or lesbian child is because we want grandchildren. Now, I know there's some of you out there who say, but they can adopt. And my response to that would be, we want grandchildren.
I can hear your fan base cheering you on. I know what you're doing. It's the double down, treble down. In fact, I saw some of your posts on social media before you did this interview. I'm going to own everything. I'm going to double down. Let me just ask you what you said in the documentary. You clearly actually would, by your own admission, disown a son who said they were gay. And yet your mother, you said, hates people that are racist, sexist, homophobic, and so on. Why be so brazenly homophobic?
I wouldn't say I'm homophobic.
You would disown a child for being gay. That's about as homophobic as it gets.
Okay.
What do you think homophobia is?
I think homophobia would be severely discriminating against gays, and I think that, you know, maybe going around and bullying them or whatever could be considered homophobic.
You don't think
I don't really
your
care
own
what the
child would be
definition is.
bullying them because of their sexuality?
I'm not bullying them. I'm not bullying my
By
child.
disowning them?
It's not bullying.
What is it?
Definitely not bullying.
What would you call it? You disown your own child for being gay.
And why does Piers Morgan believe his beliefs don't constitute bullying? The young man feels how he feels about the situation. He would not want a child who was a member of the LGBTQ community. We're living in a time, if a person does not agree, people will label you a bully or homophobic. Case in point, I don't agree with the LGBTQ agenda, the pronouns, the gender affirming care, the men and women sports. I don't agree with that. But I'm not homophobic. Live and let live. But people have an issue with a person feeling how they feel. And if a person doesn't agree with them, they're automatically labeled a bully, a racist, homophobic. And you know what? Most of the time, it's not the case at all. You can agree to disagree.
I'd call it good parenting.
Really?
We could have different beliefs. I don't care what your belief is. If you grow up,
but
okay,
no, we don't actually.
you'll work your whole life.
We both come from the same belief, which is we were brought up by mothers who did not share this view. So actually, we're very similar. It's just you've taken a weird turn where your mother, who hates homophobia, has got a son who actually thinks it's perfectly okay to say you would disown your own child, your own son, if they said they were gay. And
would you be happy if you raised your son and your son came out gay? Would you be happy, Piers? Would you be happy, Piers, if you had one child, one son? You wouldn't care?
No.
Okay, then that's your beliefs. Me and you have totally different beliefs.
Yeah, but the only thing
I know that you're trying to double down on this point.
Yeah, but Harrison, why do you think your belief does not constitute homophobia?
Piers.
Now, Piers is trying to back the young man in the corner by labeling him homophobic. And I think it's wrong. You know, just because the notion of having a LGBTQ child doesn't appeal to someone, it does not make them homophobic. It would be no different if you had a child who was autistic or handicapped. No one raises their hand and jumps in line for the LGBTQ kid, for the autistic kid, for the handicapped or physically deformed kid. That's a natural reaction. And for the young man to be honest about it, Piers is offended and he's saying the politically correct thing by trying to label the young man homophobic. But in all actuality, I don't think the young man is being homophobic. I think he's being perfectly honest, because I wouldn't want a child that fell under any of those categories. And as for having a child who was a member of the LGBTQ, my primary issue with them would be, I don't get no grandkids out the deal.
You might not agree with some of my points. I don't agree with some things that you do and the way that you act.
That's fine.
And I don't need to go into them. But if you want me to, and you want this to turn into something that it doesn't need to be, then we can all have a push and a shove.
I'm genuinely interested in how you felt this Netflix show went, and the things that Louis Theroux had you saying on camera. I'm genuinely curious what you think about the way people have responded to it. Honestly,
I don't really respect, you trying to come on and say, "Oh, I'm homophobic," and try and really push that point when I wouldn't say I'm homophobic at all.
I understand that, but I'm curious why you don't think disowning a child for being gay is homophobic.
What I do with my children is up to me. What I do with my children is up to me.
Of course.
Okay?
Of course.
I don't agree with you going to Epstein's Island and having freak-offs with Ghislaine Maxwell and the rest of them.
But I've never been to Jeffrey Epstein's Island. I never met the man, never went to his island. I met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes at a book club. If you've got any supplementary...
Mentioned a lot of times.
No problem.
A lot of times in there, sir.
I have no problem. You're not, I don't think, if I say this very respectfully, I don't think you're very well informed about things like that. Or you wouldn't go there, because it's...
Why are you in the files?
The great thing about the Epstein files, you can put somebody's name in, and you
like to compare me to Tate and Myron and everyone else. So,
Harrison,
because my name is close to them in the manosphere. But if I compare you to Epstein and Maxwell, you have a clear problem with it.
No problem.
Sir, you compare me to Myron and all the others in this homophobic, misogynistic, whatever world. I'm comparing you to Epstein then, because you're in his files.
Harrison,
exactly.
You're making yourself look an even bigger idiot than you did on the Netflix show.
Oh, really? Really? Yes. To people like you, sir, I don't mind that. You make yourself look like an idiot every single day when your wife is at home posting pictures that you're out and she wants to get used like a toy by a big black man who's cleaning her car. Is that why you have a problem with me? Is that why you're pushing this homophobic narrative? Because I'm the big black man that shagged your wife while you are on holiday. Okay? We can all have a push and a shove, sir. Let's go back to talking about the documentary and less of the homophobia.
You know what? Here's what I think about you. I watched the documentary. I think you're a fucking idiot. I think you're a sexist, misogynist, homophobic twerp who got exposed in a global way by Netflix, by Louis Theroux, for what you are. You're a little half-wit, and you'll make your little followers
don't get rattled.
a little laugh
Don't get
and everything
rattled.
else. But I don't see any point wasting. There's no point me wasting my time talking to you.
Listen, sir, I don't know why you come on and you talk like you're holier than thou. As soon as you're away,
All right, let's
this. Applications are open.
All right, let's just
that's your ting, bro. That's your girl.
Let's end this, please.
Cooked.
You know what? I'm not doing this. Sorry, guys. It's pointless.
Wow, that young man, HS Tikky, he nuked Piers Morgan. And you know what? I'm glad that he did. Because Piers was coming at that young man with all kind of self-righteous bullshit. And here it is. He has dirt in his own closet. At the end of the day, you have to learn to stay in your lane. Piers Morgan is a 60-year-old man. He's maybe like about 2 or 3 generations removed from what's going on in 2026. And for him to try to lecture this 24-year-old man about what's going on in 2026 and how he's moving is silly. And what makes it worst of all is Piers got dirt in his own closet, and that young man nuked him over his own dirt. That just goes to show you, you shouldn't throw rocks if you live in a glass house. So this is what I was thinking about. And now that I done thought about it and shared it with you, I'm done with it. Bam!